Hi, this is D13, and welcome to Thundertown. Alright, so the black market, also known as Bartertown. Here you can see I'm dropping in this pedestrian road that goes along here, and I tried a bunch of different things, like turning it into invisible roads, and finally I got it to the point where it was invisible, you couldn't see it, and I turned off all traffic except for emergency vehicles, and I believe there's also a pedestrian path, like sort of laid over the top of it. So it's meant for pedestrians to be walking back here into the market. So now I started trying to find what might be kind of cool in this more seedy area of town, and I got some nightclubs and things like that, and I started trying to drop those in here. And I thought, well, I got to get some more buildings back in here. I'm probably going to put a lot of junk buildings back in here like I have traditionally. So here's some more. I was putting in some houses, and these are actually functional. They're not props or POs. I end up having to move some of my rocks back a little bit so they don't clip through the house. I wanted to line both sides of the street through here with buildings. So I found these like, I don't know what they are. They're like desert buildings. Like, sometimes I think I have too many assets. It takes a while to figure out what buildings I want to use and where. What I wanted is the farthest back buildings way back in the corner to probably be where the most illegal of activities would take place. And then as you came into the market, there'd be some stalls and things like that along here that would be sort of like where the public goes for the market. So I got rid of those strip clubs or whatever those were. I started working on the farther back buildings. And it turns out a lot of these buildings, because they can go underneath these procedural object rocks. They can sort of clip into the sides of the cliffs. Then if I build them up just a little bit on top of that, it just looks like the building belongs there. So these buildings there, I believe they're functional. You can see they have the concrete bottoms on, or concrete base on them. The platforms, that's usually denotes that the building is a functional building and not just a PO. More messing around with the rocks here to try to get everything lined up really nicely. And the whole town of Eastgate here just keeps getting more and more locations for people to live in. We're up to 2,300 now population. So we were somewhere around, I think 12 or 1,300 when I started building this side of town. So we have about 1,000 residents living just outside the gate here. Oh, I think I dropped a school or something in there for them, and they all got happy. I have a mod that sets the demands at maximum. So you'll see the 3 bars at the bottom down there are at the full value, so there's just always demand. At one point I was thinking of doing some buildings higher up on the rocks along the edge here and putting in some of those walkways I did, like on the boardwalk area of the radio plateau. But ultimately I came back and thought, I'm just going to try to make this all at the lower level, just on the outsides of town. So outside of each gate, I want a nice low level, couple story tall buildings, like 1 story tall buildings mostly. And here I went in and got this asset again, the light asset that's created by 𝗬𝗧𝗘𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 for his Mars project. And I started dropping it. I dropped it down in there, and I'm going to run the lights all through that area so that at night this whole area lights up really nicely. I've got some of the stalls in there, and these are all commercial buildings, each stall. I've used them throughout the town in small areas of the town, but not too much yet. But I really like them, so I hope to use them in many other places. Here's some people generators that I dropped in here. So I believe they're like parks, and people will go to them. I think it might even spawn people who just wander around a little bit. I can't remember exactly how they work. I've used the generators that generate like workers for just all the areas of the town where you would need oil workers and stuff like that. And I've put them in those places so they wander around and give it a sense of life. Besides just having the pedestrians walking around here. Yeah, I think those generators, you can see the people just standing there, waving their arms and things like that. Doing some detailing with fruit and some barrels back here. This time I used the wooden barrels rather than a lot of the metal barrels, although I do think I'm going to come back in here and put trash and other barrels in. Oh, there's a Corvette. I do think for my next series, which I'm going to be starting to record soon, I'm going to try to do some live play on those videos, which I don't have any live play on these videos, and possibly even stream to YouTube some of the constructing of the areas of the town. I do have 2 other smaller series that planned. I recorded some of my very first cities I recorded. And they're not detailed very well, and they're functional cities, completely functional cities. I didn't use a lot of procedural objects. At that time, I wasn't really into doing the super detailed stuff, so I sort of cut my teeth on making I wouldn't say normal cities. They're not on normal maps. One of them is just giant hex-shaped things in the middle of the ocean, or just one giant hex shape in the middle of the ocean. And then the other city is a lot of round, circular islands. I mean, probably like 40 round islands with one big one or 2 big ones on the map. And you've seen in another episode, I was playing around with this dome from the Mars dome from the Mars project of City Walk, City Wall. And I actually use these domes to cover the big round areas of that city. So I do think I'll do a limited series, something like 5 episodes or 10, like 5 episodes each of those other 2 cities at some point. So here I actually did some work at night with the lights. You don't see too much of this in my videos because normally I'm not. I'm doing this later and I forget to record, or it's hard to see what I'm doing. But I do love putting the lights in. Oddly, some light poles don't work from the workshop, and I don't understand why they don't have a light on them. It might be that it requires power or time of day, or I'm just not leaving them sit long enough till they turn on. Here I found these yellow-orange colored lights, which is sort of like I said earlier in another video. These are sort of the theme of the town. Let's light everything up with this sort of orangish color. And I put this all through here to give it this look, this really beautiful orange glow at night. Then you can see to the entrance, and I put some concrete pylons in there to stop people from driving in there, but you will see cars just drive in and out of here occasionally. Oddly, they'll come from quite far away to drive across to this area. I don't understand why the game does that, but they'll like start on the highway way far away, and they'll drive right through the rocks and everything just to get to a parking spot sometimes. So you can see there's a little kid dancing around in the street there. So now I needed to name the area, and as I've said before already, I decided to call it Bartertown. So I just dropped this concrete in here so to help me line up the letters. And these are those letters with the little lights on them, so I think these look so cool. Again, it's sort of a, what would it be like near Vegas? There'd probably be all kinds of these light up letters. And I started trying to figure out, I don't really necessarily want just that little pole there holding these up, just the wires. So I started looking through all the different assets I've got here, and this is either a catenary or something from a concert thing. I don't know exactly what that was from. I colored it darker and I dropped it in there over the top of everything, and so now you've got Bartertown, the sign. I moved it back just a little bit so it was actually on the other side of these pylons. And there they sort of light up at night, so that's I thought that was pretty cool. So hey, at the bottoms of each of these poles, I put a little concrete platform in there. Oh yeah, these lights are those wall lights, like for tunnels. And I put them up each side of this to give it some light on each side of the light, or to light up the entrance so people can see where it's at. So now let's sit back and enjoy the cinematics. And in our next episode, we're going to build the Thunderdome. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you'll like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. All right, here we go again with another post-credits scene, and this is another episode of the Valley rework. We're going to be finishing it off in this post-credits. Here you can see I'm working along some of the bottoms near the waterfall, and I actually, in fact, had not finished the waterworks yet. I only did the basin that holds the sharks. So as we continue to go here, you'll just see me working my way up all around that side of the town. This is the area that's going to eventually be the upper class area, the area where the emperor lives. There's going to be I've already started. I laid some groundwork, maybe just after this work, and put a large casino up on the top. And I also built, like I said in the previous post-credits, a blimp stop up there. You'll definitely see in an upcoming episode the blimp stop, along with other bits of homages to MadMax. And here I'm just trying to even out all the tops of these. It's funny because it is unnecessary completely. I could have just lowered that or gotten rid of most of the stuff behind the facade of these rocks. It could have been just like a theme park, like going to Disney and you look at it in the distance and you see, a beautiful cloudy sky at the end of the main street behind the buildings, and it's painted back there. It's on a big giant billboard. Think of it as a theme park. This is sort of what building this city is like. It's sort of like building a theme park. I mean, everything is functional, that I can make functional, but in the end, it's really just to see people walking around. A really handcrafted experience in the Cities Skylines engine. It's not to say that the steel factory or the tire factory don't function. They do. They get the materials they need, they create the products they need, it goes into warehouses, it gets sold. It does everything it's supposed to do. There's even an underground, rail line in part of the town in a future episode that just connects a couple things together so that people can move around even easier, because the buses were starting to get a little crowded and I didn't want to jam more buses on the line. So I just gave the people more ways to move around. And it's unseen. They come up inside of buildings, so you'll never actually see the line. Here we go. This is the little cinematic from outside the town coming through the valley. Then heading out the far end here. And all right, there we go. This is the finale of this bonus content, and hopefully we'll have more at the end of future episodes. Thanks.